Hello and welcome back to the Saab 900 Talladega project. Coming up on episode 4, we fit some shiny new brakes, the cam cover gets a makeover, and I get the paintbrush out and add some much needed protection to the wheel arches. Before we get started, I thought it might be interesting to give you some insight into the first event that we had hoped to take the Talladega to. We were asked by the Saab Owners Club to show the car at the Practical Classics Restoration Show at the end of March. We did the show last year in our recommissioned 99 Turbo. For those of you that haven't been before, it really is worth going to see all of the clubs working and displaying their cars. Unfortunately, the show had to be cancelled due to the current situation, so this has given us some more time on the project, so we've added to the list. As you can see, we've added a few extra jobs on the right of the whiteboard. Some of these have already been completed, and some will be carried out in this episode. Last time we finished up with a pair of refurbished front suspension struts. Before they can be installed, we've got a few other jobs to get done first. First job is to rebush the front control arms. We start by removing the old worn bushes. These bushes are often overlooked on the 900/93 platform, and I think it's fair to say that these are past their best. I think you'll agree that past their best is a slight understatement for these bushes, especially when you can see how the corrosion has moved through the outer casing on the bush. Let's move on to removing the inner control arm bush. With the bushes out and the housings cleaned, it's time to fit the Powerflex bushes. The nice thing about the majority of Powerflex bushes is the ease of fitting, which I'll now demonstrate. And there we have it, job done. Powerflex bushes fitted to the front lower control arms. I think they'll improve the car's handling over what was in there before. Next up is to paint the inner arches out with undersill. This will give the original paint an extra level of protection. With that done, some amber wax is applied before the wheel arch liners are fitted. We find this particular wax from 3M very close to the type used by Saab in the 1980s. It is applied using this underbody gun, and a straw attachment can be used to get into all those hard to reach areas on the vehicle's chassis. The final part of the front assembly are the new front brakes, but before they're installed, I thought it might be worth showing you the old ones. This car had been parked in our yard for about 18 months prior to us working on it. The condition of these brake pads are quite concerning, and it is always something worth checking on your own cars, especially if they've been stood for long periods of time outside. With the new calipers, discs, pads and brake lines installed, it's job done on the front assembly. Now it's time to move on to the subframe brace and rack brace. We have here an Abbott Racing steering rack clamp, which is considered to be one of the best on the market and stops bulkhead flex. The other item we have here is a 4-point subframe brace, which is a copy we had made of the now unavailable Speed Parts brace from Sweden. We always felt that this was also one of the best subframe braces on the market. The brace uses existing openings in the front subframe to allow the captive securing brackets to fit inside, and once the brace is in place, it secures through the subframe, which adds some much needed strength. This just leaves the under trays to be trimmed up, and we can talk about the rack brace. The rack brace has always been a great addition to these cars and stops the bulkhead from flexing and in turn cracking. We were lucky with our car as the bulkhead is in perfect condition, and fitting this brace will hopefully keep it that way. That's quite a few jobs off the list, and now the handling should be much improved with these additions. One of the last suspension jobs we wanted to complete was replacing the rear shock absorbers. These were so cheap from Oreo, it was best to fit new genuine ones. Another few jobs off the list there, and also the addition of this upgraded rear anti-roll bar to further improve handling. Our attention is now turned back to the engine bay and sorting out that cam cover that's in really poor condition. This is a spare that we had powder coated, and what follows is a DIY way of getting the letters and numbers polished. Let's start the music. And there we have it, the very long and slow process of getting those letters and numbers restored. So that's it for this episode. Hopefully we haven't bored you to death. See you next time. Cheers then. Next time on the 900 Talladega project, we find some noisy bearings. I do an impression of the Exxon Valdez. And I pop this knob off with my hands.